Thank you, Madam Chair. I come from western Pennsylvania, area that's been a traditional manufacturing area, and many of our small manufacturers also produce Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 manufacturing for the auto industry. I guess I have a couple questions, and I'm going to start back maybe more at the beginning. How much of where we are today do you think really was contributed by the fact that the auto industry's business model didn't maybe look to the future? And anyone, I'll open that up to anyone who would like to address that. Mr. Nod.
Thank you. I agree wholeheartedly. Having many of our members do business with Tier 1s and some direct to the Big Three, there has been just a blatant beating down of these Tier 2 and Tier 3 metal casters to, you lower your cost, you do this, everything that comes in, you need to have a give back. We had just one company here that I'm aware of in the last month. They closed a plant and laid off 350 employees, moved a machining cell into the current facility because they'd opened space from already having a major layoff. And their automotive customer, one of the Big Three, said, oh, well, now that you've moved that indoors, how much of that can you give back to us? Utterly amazing. Mm-hmm. Utterly amazing. And it goes back, you think, all of us small business people that are going back and cutting costs, becoming leaner, meaner, being more innovative, more creative. My foundry, we put out just as much product now with 125 employees as we did with 186. Why? We were creative, we were versatile, and we did things to keep ourselves moving forward. How can a company, when things slow down, offer $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $10,000 rebates on vehicles to get off the lot? Where was that money going all the other times, going out the door in bonuses and all these other things that were poor business practice, and where was the saving for the rainy day that's here now?
Anyone else like to address that? Yes, Mr. Smith.
I'd have to disagree. I think that the U.S. auto manufacturers that are currently in this crisis, they definitely have vehicles that are relevant. The fact is that we have a very fickle consumer society, and that years ago people said, how come there weren't more hybrids? Well, quite frankly, they can't give hybrids away today. It changes so quickly, and the fact is that the quality is on par with anyone. The vehicles are good looking. They last. They're excellent products, and I think they are relevant. I think there's been cost and, quite frankly, a cost cycle that's finally come up with them. And in terms of some of these same issues that we talked about, the pension liabilities that, you have to remember General Motors, the size of General Motors where it was 30 years ago versus where it is today, the number of employees that it's still obligated to make sure that they do what's right by the workers. And you compare that against the new domestics who are just relatively, although they've been here 25 years or more, that's still relatively new when you compare to a company that's been around for 100 years. It's some of these cost cycles. I think that the thing that we need to see in the industry is we just need to get over this. We need to make sure that we put the right amount of money so that they can come out of this thing strong and healthy. I know that it was stated that $38 billion has been dedicated so far to the industry. Well, quite frankly, we talked about that same number that was going to be needed in the fall time, but the money came too slow and not enough on time, is quite frankly is the way that I see it. And that we have spent close to $1 trillion in order to save or create 3.5 million jobs. Well, for less than a tenth of that, we could save and create 3.5 million jobs. And I think that when you take a look at my state of Michigan, the fact that Michigan has struggled with its unemployment numbers as much as it has not been just the loss of the automotive jobs. What we have lost is the job creation factor of those jobs. And for every Tier 1 automotive job in the Midwest, it creates 5 to 8 additional jobs. And so when you lose a Tier 1 automotive job, 5 or 8 jobs follow, and that's why Michigan leads.
I think what Mr. Norch is saying is that the Tier 2, Tier 3, they've gone lean, they've gone, and that's what I've seen in my district. Is those companies are producing amazing efficiency. And I'm not sure that we saw that in the big three.
Well,
and I come from a family where my brother-in-law was an executive at Chrysler for many years, and I'm saying that, I guess, from my personal experience. But Mr. Overton, you had just?
Well, I agree with most of Mr. Smith's comments. I think there's a distaste for the Detroit Three, or whatever you want to call it, in the United States right now, that most people looked at it and said, let them go bankrupt. But what they didn't consider was the jobs that we create, the 5 to 8 jobs for every one job that's in the Detroit Three.
I think you've all done your job, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying that all
Right.
of you
a lot
have
of this
have
they brought
been.
upon themselves, no doubt.
My time.
Time is expired.